Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Violet Rayne.
Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet and Rayne, and I'm so excited today to have my friend with me today, Michele Thomas. She's an energy alchemist. Through her work as a certified medical intuitive and energy healer, she helps people achieve their highest level of health and wellness available to them. She teaches and inspires individuals to heal the wounds of their past, so that they can move forward in their lives for their highest good. As a healer, teacher, and guide, she's here to help create lasting change in all who work with her. Whether that they need physical, mental, or emotional support, she's here to help and assist those in need. Michele is also, her and I do a message gallery at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts in Littleton, where we have lots of fun and we give out messages almost every month. So we have fun with that. She also teaches a healing series at our center, which people just rave about. So I'm really excited to have her as a guest on our show. Welcome, Michele.
Thank you for having me. Always good to be in your presence, you beautiful soul. So thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for being here. We're having so much fun today doing our recording. Talk to us a little bit about, were you always intuitive? Were you always gifted? Was this always your role? How did you get to the place that you are today?
Funny story. I would love to say I've been intuitive my whole life, even though I do technically know that now. But I wasn't always tuned into my intuition. And especially as an adult, I shut it down for much of my adult life. But I had a midlife awakening. And so my relationship was kind of starting to crumble. And I started seeking ways to improve my life and to start stepping into what I believe was more, right? I wanted more. I wanted a life that was more fulfilling, more joyful. And so through the breakup of my marriage, I actually ended up rediscovering my intuition. And so through reading books and taking classes, I took just about every class that Violet taught back in the day. The biggest one that I think that was a big breakthrough for me was her Discover Your Spiritual Gifts Academy. And I took the intuitive practitioner, something like that, intuitive practitioner certification course that was 4 months long or so. And I started out believing I'm not that intuitive. And by the end of taking that particular program, I was like, okay, I'm a little bit intuitive. And then through taking a lot of other classes, but I was really, after hearing from not only Violet and other people, was, you're meant to be a healer. What are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. And one day Spirit kind of knocked me upside the head and said, can you please go find a medical intuitive mentor? That's what you're meant to be doing. Can you go work with someone to become an energy healer? Because that's what you're here for. So I reached out to Violet and actually then found someone who I worked with for 6 months or so. And by the end of that program, I went from maybe feeling I was intuitive about 20% to all of a sudden I'm fully wide open and I'm seeing archangels and ascended masters. I can see them, feel them, know them. And so I really got that experience, took me from like 0 to 100 in like 6 months, but it was through practice. I have a ritual that I do every single morning, and I practice every single day, like without fail. Like I tune into my intuition every day. I ask for help from my guides and angels every single day. And so I got to where I am through taking classes and doing the work and practice, a lot of practice.
You know, everybody has gifts. Yes. Everyone's gifted. They just don't utilize it, or they shut it down, or they don't trust it, or they have beliefs that prevent them for really paying attention and honoring it, or they have old wounds and fears that they won't allow themselves to move in. But if you really want to be gifted, if you really want to be guided, these gifts were given to us to help us navigate this experience in this lifetime. And you have a choice. Do you want to step in? Do you not want? Do you want it? And with practice, everyone can do what we do. We just utilize our gifts every day. We ask questions, we ask for guidance, we're paying attention to what Spirit has to tell us. It's really, really important that we step into those. So one of the things that Michelle's really gifted with is energy and looking at your energetic body to kind of check in. So talk to us a little bit about our energy bodies and how those impact our physical health and what you see when you check in with somebody.
Sure. So your energetic body, which is a bunch of layers that sit within your physical body and outside of your physical body, but really it's your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, all exist, and it's all intricately linked within your physical body. So you can be physically feeling unwell, and it may have a direct correlation to something that's going on in your mental body, your emotional body, your spiritual body. And so being able to see the entire holistic approach to health and wellness, and seeing how, okay, your heart is out of balance, your heart chakra is out of balance, you're giving too much of your time and energy away to other people and you're not taking care of yourself, or you have feelings of shame and guilt and you feel unworthy that is sitting there and it's causing an imbalance and it's creating breast cancer or heart disease. And so all of this actually is very linked to how you feel in your physical body. And so when I work with them, I actually channel the archangels and ascended masters, and they work through me. I'm kind of like their translator. But I really can see when you have cords that are attached that are not serving you. I can actually see, okay, there's an imbalance in your throat chakra. You're not speaking your truth. You may have some thyroid issues. And so being able to work within, again, not just the physical body, but your entire holistic body, your mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical bodies, and seeing where there's imbalances, where there's stagnant energy, and being able to work and clear them out, you can actually end up feeling so much better. But how you feel about yourself, how you feel about your body is very important to whether or not you can heal. Like, your brain is extremely powerful when it comes to healing yourself. And if you believe that you can't be healed, you won't be. There's scientific proof on the people that believe that they can be cured of cancer and the people that believe they can't, and how well they've handled treatment. Like, it's amazing. Your brain is extremely powerful. And so being able to utilize all aspects of your energetic body to heal you is extremely powerful. And you can really clear a lot of dis-ease from your body by energetically doing some clearing work, like working with me, or you've been doing it yourself. Just depends on how comfortable you are doing it.
I love that. I love that. We talk a lot with people about speaking their divine truth, or when we swallow our words because we don't feel comfortable to share what we're feeling or seeing, or frustration or anger. What happens to us physically when we do that, Michele? Because I love your explanation of that.
So when you swallow your words, you swallow your feelings, you are afraid to share your emotions, or you're wearing a mask all the time because you feel like you have to show up a certain way because you're going to be judged. When you swallow all of that, it goes inside your body and rots. Energetically, it creates major dysfunction in your body. And your solar plexus, which is just above your navel, it sits in that area. And so when you swallow all this stuff, it creates gut issues, food allergies, inflammation in your body. It can create a lot of problems, like I said, especially in your gut area when you start swallowing this stuff. Not to mention thyroid issues. When your throat chakra is out of alignment, thyroid issues, Hashimoto's disease, lots of other problems in your throat area. And when you can start speaking your truth and living authentically to who you are and sharing your emotions right? Feeling the feelings. Feelings aren't good or bad. They are merely a way of your body to tell you some information. It's, hey, I'm sad. Okay, well, what am I sad about today? And being able to understand and recognize what that feeling is telling you so that you can then move forward and go, okay, I see what that is. Thank you for sharing that useful information with me. I can now go about my day.
You
But you
know,
have to feel the feelings. It's really
yeah,
important.
it's really, really important. And it's not, I always tell people, speaking your truth is not about calling Aunt Margaret up and telling her all the awful things that she's ever done. It's about being authentic, but also sharing your feelings. And if it doesn't fit for you to call Aunt Martha and tell her all those things, I always tell people, get a teddy bear or stuffy and let that be Aunt Margaret, and just talk and rattle off all those feelings, or go sit under a tree and tell the tree, or wherever you can to release it. Doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go say that to that person, but there are times when you do need to speak up and say, this is how I feel, this is how it makes me feel, this is how it impacts me or affects me, or this is because if we're not honest and we just hold that in, we can't change situations if we don't share it. I always tell people, if you have unhealthy relationships, you need to make some tough decisions, and that means you may need to walk away. I love walking away. That means I don't have to call up George and say, George, you're really bad for my life and I don't want to spend time with you anymore. Goodbye. It just means, hey, George, I'm busy. I'd really love to do that, but I'm really busy today. And you keep distancing yourself to eventually George goes and finds other people to hang out with, and that kind of moves on, right?
And so absolutely. And aside from that is when you start doing your healing work, when you start healing your inner child, when you start healing the wounds of your past, and you start doing the work, you start raising your vibration and frequency. And when you do that, you're not even on the same wavelength as the people around you. And so sometimes the people that are in your life fall away energetically because they aren't on the same wavelength as you. They don't get you anymore. They look at you like you're a little crazy, and you're just like, nope, I'm just healed. I'm doing my work. So I'm raising my vibration frequency. And the person that's with you is either going to have to get on the bus or they're going to be left at the bus stop. Really. But again, doing healing work and really working through, again, inner child traumas. And trauma doesn't have to be a big T. It can be a little baby T of maybe, you just have some, everybody has inner child wounds. I could go talking about inner child wounds forever. But when you can start healing and doing the work necessary for you to start healing, because again, we are all here to heal in this lifetime. That's what we're here to do. We're here to learn some things, to grow and change as a soul. And when we start healing, we start raising our vibration frequency. And again, the relationships that are around us will change and shift according to that frequency that you're putting out.
I love that, and I love the perspective. Talk to us a little bit about people that struggle with perfectionism, because we've had that come up several times too, about I need to be perfect. Where does that sit?
Well, like I previously said, inner child wounds. So inner child wounds, for perfectionism, it basically comes from when you were a kid and you strived to receive love, appreciation, approval, acceptance from someone else, and you thought you had to act or behave in a certain way to achieve it, which is conditional love, right? And when you can start understanding that you don't actually need anybody's approval or acceptance, you just do you, you can start unraveling that perfectionism, because perfectionism again, most of my clients who have perfectionism have some sort of conditional love inner child wound that they need to start working through and releasing in order to let that go. Not only that, but perfection is impossible to achieve. And also when you recognize that the imperfections within all of us makes us unique, beautiful souls. And if everyone was the same, it'd be a pretty boring life.
It would be. It would be. I know that some of the clients you love working with is successful women that are struggling or feel overwhelmed. Share with us a little bit your perspective on that and how you help people.
A lot of women, we've been told by society that we're here and we're meant to, we can have it all. right? And that we're superheroes. Like a lot of society will be like, oh my God, you're like this amazing. How do you do it all? How do you achieve all these things? Meanwhile, the women that are working outside of the home and they're succeeding at work, and they're trying to come home and they have another hat to put on when they get home as mother or spouse or cleaning lady or cook or whatever. And they come home and have a whole nother set of jobs to do. And so they're constantly in this state of doing. And very often they're not leaning into this feminine side of rest. They don't take care of themselves. They put themselves last on the list. They try and take care of every other person in their life. And then they end up sick and tired and exhausted and burnt out. And they're like, well, why? Here I am succeeding in all of these ways, and yet I'm not fulfilled, or I'm feeling exhausted. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And really, it has to do with the fact that they're not leaning into rest. We've been told we need to lean into this masculine energy. And I'm talking about masculine energy, not masculinity. They're very different things. In doing and taking action and being a leader. And so we squash all of these feminine characteristics with feminine energy characteristics of receiving, of rest, of intuition, of creativity, in order to become this super successful person. And when you can bring that more into balance and find the time to rest, find the time to take care of yourself, because self-care is not selfish. It's essential. You need to actually do it every single week at a minimum, is taking time to refill your cup and open yourself up to receiving help. Because a lot of times, high achieving women also, we are perfectionists. We're afraid to ask for help because I'm independent. I don't need any man to help me. I don't need anybody to help me. When in reality, if you would just ask for help from anyone, people will show up and help you. Asking for help is actually, as I've turned out, is a great way to get kids to do things around the house sometimes. Hey, can you help me unload the dishwasher? I need some help. Because guess what? That's way easier to receive from a child's perspective sometimes than I need you to do this. And if you say, hey, can you help me? The energy is very different. And it allows you to open up to that receivership and getting the help that you need, because you're not meant to be an island. You're not meant to do everything alone. We're here to be in a community. We're here to help each other from a soul perspective. And so I help a lot of women just really understand how they can find more balance in their lives, as well as to release some of the beliefs and the blocks that they've either learned, whether that be from childhood, from the way society has told them that they need to act or behave, to ancestral and generational wounds. So when you can start understanding the way that all of these things work together to create who we are as people, you can start unraveling them and really begin to find a more fulfilling and joyful and energetic way to live life.
I love that. I love that. So talk to us about some of the things that you offer. We'll have your website on here where people can find it. But what are some things that you offer to clients, and how can people check that out?
Sure. So I have a few different types of one-on-one sessions. So I have a release and realignment session, which is really about tuning into your body and figuring out what's going on from the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual perspective, and then realigning. So it's an energy healing as well. So we dig in and I look at your entire chakra system, your entire physical body, and we go through and we work on all of these different things. And then the archangels and ascended masters come and do the healing work. So I channel all of them. I also have channeled psychic readings, as well as I do coaching. So I have some coaching sessions as well for, again, those high achieving women, or just someone who wants a little bit more out of their life and they're not really sure why they're stuck. I teach classes. I have quite a few different types of classes. Both I teach at the center at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, as well as I offer online classes. In case you're a little bit afraid from a time commitment standpoint, you can do these as a self-paced course. And then I'm actually doing a 3-month coaching and healing program called Alchemy Evolution, which is diving in for 3 months of intense sort of coaching and energetic healing along the way, because I found that when you put those two things together, you can achieve massive transformation in a short period of time. But again, they can always go to my website, which is linked here, and go to the healing classes. All of my classes are constantly being updated, so you can always find what's happening both in person and online from there as well.
I love that. I love that. So check out Michelle's website, see what's happening. She's always creating new things, always coming up with new things that she can offer. So check that out. And we hope to see you in the future at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts in Littleton. If not, check out some of our other shows and guests and programs that we offer. We'd love to see you there. Thanks for watching today, and we hope to see you really soon.
Thank you.
Are you seeking an online spiritual education resource? Do you crave to know more about various topics of spirituality? Discover Your Spiritual Gifts Academy offers a wide variety of programs including Crystal Alchemy, Tarot, The Journey of the Fool, Akashic Record Reading Certification, and much more. These online courses allow you to learn on your schedule and at your own pace. You can find out more at www.discoveryourspiritualgifts.academy. Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.